Barry Robertson's family has been visiting a holiday shack for 60 years. His millionaire neighbour asked him to move it and claims it's illegal. But that dispute has taken a back seat because somehow the shack was demolished, with criminal charges now laid.
They demolished it and took everything inside.
George, do you know what happened to Barry's shack?
It's a holiday whodunit over a humble little shack set on one of the most picturesque coastlines in the country, with a cast of characters straight from Hollywood.
It's a bit like David and Goliath, because he's told us he's got an unlimited budget.
Grandfather Barry Robertson's been holidaying at this spot for nearly 60 years. 4 generations of his family came here for fishing, swimming and these incredible views. There used to be a modest little shack for them to stay in, until one day someone demolished it.
How did you feel the day you came down here and saw your shack was completely gone?
Oh, well, I was pretty devastated, because I just didn't think anyone could do such a thing.
The Clifftop Shack was located on a strip of Crown land on South Australia's Fleurieu Peninsula, with views out to Kangaroo Island. It had been purchased by the Robertson family in the 1960s and slowly improved over the years with a modern bathroom.
The shack was fairly modest, but it's all about these $1 million views, isn't it?
My word. I mean, have a look at that. It's fantastic, isn't it?
Over that next hill, accommodation rents for almost $2,000 per night, which may have helped attract some very wealthy neighbours into the hood.
Hello, my name is Julian Johnston and I'd like to welcome you to...
Julian Johnston is an expat Aussie who's made it big selling real estate in Florida. He sells apartments with their own helipads, with price tags topping $50 million. Originally from South Australia, he bought the block of land behind Barry's shack with plans to build a $2 million home to come back to. He'll need more than a Vespa to get to this remote spot, but that wasn't his main concern about his new purchase. Sending this email to the owners of another coastline shack next to Barry's that's also on Crown land, claiming they did not have a lease.
I would like you to please move your illegal shack somewhere else and away from my land. Please understand that I have an unlimited budget for taking steps to ensure privacy and security.
What did you think when you read that email?
I was just blown away, because we've had that shack for so long. We've been paying rates since 1992, and we just thought it was A-OK.
Barry has records showing the council rates have been paid for 31 years. The notice lists his shack's address. Before he could get an answer from the Crown Lands Department about the status of his lease, Barry received a startling phone call.
He saw my shack gone, so he rang me. And I said, no, you've got a bit wrong. And he said, no, he says, your shack is gone.
Barry drove down from Adelaide the next morning to discover this empty slab.
Whoever did this, it wasn't done quickly, was it?
Oh no,
they've probably taken every single bit.
Yeah, and we had a lot of good gear in this shack.
He continued on to his neighbour's shack, where he claims he found this man and took some photos.
Sort of yelled at him a bit and asked him what the hell is he doing, and he didn't say anything. He never said a word to me.
South Australian Police charged George Lavrentiadis with 2 counts of damaging property and 2 counts of dishonestly taking property without consent.
George, do you know what happened to Barry's shack? Do you know how it ended up getting demolished at all?
The 50-year-old of no fixed address pleaded not guilty to the charges and will face trial in coming months.
Can you imagine how much drama's been caused by that little shack? Anything you'd like to say, George?
An Adelaide Magistrates Court heard 3 more people will be charged, but they have not been named. Julian Johnston has denied any involvement in the demolition, and A Current Affair is not suggesting he was involved. telling us.
There are no legal proceedings on foot against my client and no factual basis to support any assertion of my client's involvement.
This matter is much bigger than simply somebody ripping down some timber and steel beams. It's about somebody demolishing the memories and moments that 4 generations of Robertsons that have enjoyed.
Lawyer Andrew Carpenter has been enlisted to help Barry Robertson seek civil compensation once it's been determined who demolished his shack.
It'll set a very dangerous precedent if someone can permit the demolition of a property that does not belong to them.
John Darley is a former Valuer General who was a government MP when laws were changed, providing more security for people with holiday shacks on Crown land.
You can't just demolish the house and get away with it. It's as simple as that.
Julian Johnston has now installed steel barriers along his boundary line, including a locked gate and security camera on the track that leads to Barry's shack, meaning he has to drive cross-country for access.
Barry says he has permission to rebuild his shack, but there is a catch. It will need to meet modern building standards regarding safety, wastewater treatment and bushfire prevention.
This David and Goliath battle here is akin to what the castle was, but this is somebody fighting for their personal rights, for their property rights.
How determined are you to rebuild that shack?
I'm talking, negotiating with it right now, so it is going to happen, yep.
You're not going to let this go?
No way.
Julian's lawyers maintain Barry's shack was an illegal structure and illegally occupied by Barry's family. So clearly that fight is far from over.